fight, take one, roll one, action.
Of the fight game, what can I say? If you need to make money, you can make money. I'm quite blessed, like through my life, growing up around martial arts. My main system that I train now, and what I started with, is a system called Shen Chi Do. So Shen Chi Do is a system that was developed by my uncle, Grandmaster Shen, who studied out in Korea. When he was in Korea, he was taught three systems: Hapkido, Kuksuan, and Combat Taekwondo. He combined those systems and then was born in 1979 Shen Chi Do, which is Shen's internal power, his way. I first got into martial arts around about 8 years old, so through the 70s. I had to stop for a little while and then restarted back again in my teens, and started working towards my black belt, which took about 3 years of training. The system has a traditional side which has kata, pattern, form, so that's beautiful movement. So that really is helpful for understanding body movement. In my case and my brother, we're both dyslexic, so actually it was really helpful to actually reprogram our minds to see things correctly with writing, reading. Over the years, I've worked through my Dan system, which each time you go through your Dan system, there's weapons, learning how to maneuver around more than one opponent, because in the system we have upper body techniques, which are grappling, throwing, as well as you have the kicking and kneeing and elbow techniques. So it's a very, very full or rounded system that is great for tradition, great for competition, and also great for combat, self-defense. The club used to do inter-club competitions, so I used to enter myself into those competitions. The way that we did our fighting was punching fully to the body, kicking fully to the body and head, but no punching to the head. I actually gained the world championship, you could say, of that system, where I did the Open Shen Chi Do championships, which was 10 fights in one day. You basically work your way from the beginning of like a tree down to the final two fighters. And the interesting thing with that was I had to fight my brother in the final, which was very hard because I love my brother. And it was a point system there, so I was very close that I nipped it. And the funny thing is, I always think back to it because, like, now my brother helped me through my fight career in the kickboxing. So I got through to my 18th birthday. I started to play around with some of the kickboxing then and some Thai boxing. As years went on, I thought, I want to see if I can test myself and actually become a champion. And so as I went through my 20s, I started to really put myself under fire. And that's when you realise, the depths with the fight game, because every fighter knows that when you go into that ring, it's a life and death situation. I'd say that's probably connected to the old days and the gladiators, the way they used to live their lives as well. You just have to be in the middle of that mix, that kind of chaos, because that's where you feel calm. So had a little bit of success at the beginning and sometimes not so good, but luckily I had a very good teacher who made it clear to me that there's learning in winning, learning in losing. So came a point where I was doing very well in the fight game. I navigated my way through the fights and slowly built myself up to a British title fight. So first I wanted to go towards the WAKO championships, and I actually very well. I actually won several British titles there, got picked up onto the GB squad, had done BF KKO title fights as well, winning British light welterweight titles there, and then slowly navigate my way towards the World Championships with the WAKO. And that was interesting because not much money in sport. It's like you had to find your own sponsorship basically to pay for your GB squad tracksuit, bring all your own kit as well. So, and then also getting yourself to Paris, which is at that time where the World Championships were. So anyway, I was very blessed. I got people to fund me and got myself into the position where I was going to go and fight for the world title in the WAKO Championships in Paris. Total crazy thing happened there. It's like I was really geared up for the fight. You know, no doubt in my mind I was going to be the world champion. As far as I was concerned, as well as my corner, it's a clean win. It was literally like someone had flipped the cards over and made a massive mistake and gave him a unanimous decision. So even though like I'd been basically ripped off the world title, the WAKO world title, I felt like I was a champion because like we all came back on the private jet. So I was treated like a world champion. They were looking to move the kickboxing into the Olympics. So that was very exciting because in my early years when I was running, I wasn't able to take that route to the GB squad because of at that time you had to be of pure British heritage. But a runner who came on the scene called Zola Budd from South Africa who changed all that, which meant now I had a kind of second chance to go towards the Olympics. So I got picked up by a GB squad, and unfortunately, too many crooks in the business. Like, you know, I just felt it wasn't navigated right, because a lot of the fights I'd go to, paid fights, it's like the promoters were pocketing the money. A lot of people in the kickboxing game, and still is, who just are not, I'd say, very short-sighted. So they didn't go, and this is why UFC, MMA took off, because they were more organised. They had bigger focus on how to run the business. A lot of fighters have not been looked after over the years in the kickboxing area and in various other areas, which I felt is a real shame, as one, I wanted to compete in the Olympics as an Olympian, but also not just myself, but all those fighters at that time were really focusing to take that direction. Anyway, it meant I retired for a little while. I got married, which was a mistake, basically. It kind of got a bit messy towards the end of the breakup and put me in a bit of debt. And me being the type of person I am, I didn't want to declare myself bankrupt. Maybe I should have. But I wanted to get myself out of that hole. So opportunities came up in the fight game where I could make some money. And unfortunately, two of those bouts were actually not legal fights. They're not recorded. Some people call them backstreet fights, unlicensed fights. And basically, like you agree to take a fight, and sometimes the location isn't confirmed until hours before. You fight your guy, you're agreed a purse, just like you are in the fight game, in any fight. But the interesting thing about this is that if you win, because you're in there, people are just betting around you. You come out, and so where I've won my fight, and I had people coming up to me and just pat me on the shoulder, well done son, and you get out of the car park and then you check and you've got all this money that's been pushed into your clothing. And I can remember on one of the fights there was over £1,000. So God knows how much money is exchanging hands in these places. But at the same time, it's quite scary as well, because you know you're in a place where this is criminal activity going on. There are gangsters here, but you're desperate, and you've put yourself there. You've put yourself there, so you've got to follow through. Because if you don't, you can get hurt, and you could get hurt permanently. you could lose your life. Yeah, I mean, nobody was hurt, but at the same time, it's not something I'm proud of. But you got to do what you got to do, yeah, I made some money in both those fights that I took, and basically used that money to try and help get out of the hole I was in. And I had an opportunity to come out of retirement to defend one of my titles, which I did, and I actually came out of retirement 3 times to defend my titles. My final fight, I was living in Manchester at the time. I found there was a great boxing gym just down the road from where I lived at that time, which was run by Oliver Harrison, who sadly passed away a short time ago. And he was an amazing person, became a real mentor to me for the couple of years that I was with him, and he helped prepare me for my final title defence, which at that time I was 39, about to turn 40. So I did a warm-up fight I was still 39, and then when I turned 40 I did my title defence and then retired then, and that was a second round stoppage from a young opponent who was in his 20s, who was quite loud and aggressive, and second round stoppage. He had quite bad cuts to his head. So he was complaining, making comments to me of being the old guy, but unfortunately for him, it was a reverse. It was like I was the youngster in the ring there. I'm actually now working towards my 5th Dan in my family system. Hopefully next year that'll take place. I was delayed because of COVID. I think most people in business and their personal development have suffered because of COVID. I also had a freak accident on my left leg here, where I was playing with my son and joking around, being a silly dad, and took a bad fall and full rupture of my quad tendon, which I had to have surgery. After 5 days it happened. I was on the table having that repaired. So you want to get off the floor and move around, not lie down there. I ain't knocked down, I ain't dead. But enjoying the training now, which is it's given me a good head on my shoulders, I would say. Knowing how to conduct myself, being friendly, open to people because of that energy that's taught through the system, about manners, respect, simple things, that sometimes you see nowadays is really disappearing. Standing up when somebody comes in, address your friends, address your family, hold the door open, for people. Look behind you, don't just slam the door in someone's face. Very, very blessed now, and enjoying the journey of playing around with acting, which my brother got me into many years ago. And there's something about being on set, which I never understood that until I had a few goes on some short films, and I've done some stunt work on some feature films over the years, and something I'm going to look towards, navigating towards at some point over the next year. I'm also writing as well with 3 friends, which is great fun. We're playing around with a TV show idea, so we're actually working towards putting that into something they call the Bible. It's ready so we can pitch. And I'm just enjoying life now, healthy, going to be 53 next February, and just in a good place now, really good place, I think.